All right, 10 o'clock right now on WFMY Plus. Thanks for joining us for some extended weather coverage as we still expect more rain on the way today, although I don't expect a day like what we had yesterday. I'm Meteorologist Christian Morgan. Thanks for checking in with us. We're going to go through what we saw yesterday plus what we can expect to see today. And then, of course, we'll look at your 7-day forecast, get you wrapped up to look at the rest of the week. In the meantime, yesterday, of course, was a super soaker day of weather. They used to call those frog stranglers back in the day, I'm pretty sure, but a general widespread 1 to 2 inches for most across our area yesterday. Just look at some of these rainfall totals. Now, this doesn't take into account anything that we got Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, or since midnight last night. This is just Monday from 12 A to 11:59 P. This is what we see, though, around an inch down in Asheboro, 0.82 inches in Greensboro out of the airport, and then about half an inch over in Burlington, inch and a quarter over in Siler City yesterday. You go to the north, boy, Reidsville, less than a quarter of an inch. A lot of this sort of depended on where you were. Close to 2 inches over in Winston-Salem, about an inch and a half in Lexington. And then you go up to Mount Airy, a little over 2 inches. Now, this may be a little bit overdone, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for those folks to easily have at least 2 inches. Maybe a little more overdone on the higher end of that. About half an inch over in Wilkesboro, and just look at the rainfall total, over 4.5 inches up in Boone. Again, these are radar estimated totals, so that may be a little bit overdone. But again, 3-4 inches of rain up in the mountains yesterday seems very easily done yesterday with the rain and the constant on and off downpours that they had up that way yesterday. Now, folks down to the east really didn't get a lot yesterday. Half an inch down in Raleigh and Durham yesterday, 0.39 inches shy of a half an inch over in Roxboro, almost 3/4 of an inch up in Danville, Virginia. Today, though, those are the folks that have been getting a lot of the rain so far. For us, in the meantime, we are dry, and I would expect that we're probably going to stay dry for a good chunk of the day. I think there's going to be a lot of dry time today, even some sunshine at times, too. Earlier on our Burlington sky camera around 9 o'clock, we had some sunshine. Now we've got more clouds back in. That's kind of how the rest of the day is going to go. Even though we're still expecting rain, you can expect to see a little bit of sunshine, too. So rain gear and sunglasses, you need both of those things for today. 69 out the door right now in Burlington. Most everybody's starting to climb through the upper 60s to near 70, even with a little bit of patchy fog that was out there earlier this morning. Take a look at the time lapse over High Point overnight. Of course, you see the clouds, a couple of sprinkles and some light showers, and then the fog was setting in early this morning, made for a bit of a slower morning commute for some. Now we've got the clouds lifting, some sunshine peeking out from time to time, and not much to talk about in the way of rain for now. Still going to keep the alert in effect for today because not only do I think we have more downpours on the way this afternoon, they are a bit more scattered, but I also think we could have a couple of strong or maybe severe thunderstorms to watch this afternoon and this evening. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. So grab the rain gear, keep that close by today. If you don't have that News 2 weather app yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. All right, it's totally free for all of your smart devices. You get real-time radar on that app, just like what we see here in the Weather Center. So you can track along real-time radar. It doesn't have to be just today. That's available to you every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right, so no matter what you're doing, wherever you are, you have plans, you want to check the weather, you can do that on that app, and it'll push alerts to your phone if they're issued. And it's potential that we could have a couple of those issued across North Carolina today. Take a look at the satellite radar combo. These are the folks that have been busy this morning. I'm talking about Raleigh and Durham down into eastern North Carolina. Those folks had a lot of rain and some bumpy thunderstorms very early this morning. Likely woke several folks up earlier than what they anticipated, and even several tornado warnings out that way last night and very early this morning too. You'll see the little green box down here in the right corner of your screen. That's a flash flood warning in some of those areas, and that heavy rain is continuing as it pushes to the north in extreme eastern North Carolina, out over the Outer Banks and pushing up into Virginia, out over the Chesapeake Bay. So there's a lot of rain down that way this morning. Meanwhile, you go back to the west, there's still some rain coming up out of the upstate of South Carolina into western North Carolina with some passing showers. You'll notice a lot of those are kind of running out of the steam as they lift to the north. We are uniquely positioned in what I call a dry slot with our area of low pressure. This happens a lot when we talk about winter weather. So let me explain. Let's zoom out on a wider view. Our spinning area of low pressure, you'll notice this general counterclockwise motion of the rain. Well, our area of low pressure is out this way. So yes, it's bringing in some moisture off of the Atlantic, moisture out of the Gulf, but it's also wrapping in dry air back to the west into it as well. That dry air wrapping into it is where we are right now, uniquely positioned in a dry slot. So that's why I expect we're going to stay dry for a while. You'll notice not much rain to be had just to our south, down into South Carolina or down into Georgia either. So I think we have several more hours of dry weather that are on the way for the Piedmont before some of those pop-up downpours and storms this afternoon. A lot of that could be driven based on the amount of fuel or based on the amount of instability that we have. And with the sun coming out, that is going to be at least a factor in that heading into the afternoon. So spinning area of low pressure still sits over us. It sparks off some downpours and some storms later this afternoon and into this evening. Then it pushes to the north a bit as we head into Wednesday. It's still going to be pretty close by. We're still going to have some moisture at play. So I still think we have some scattered showers, maybe a storm tomorrow for your Wednesday. But every day as we move throughout the rest of the week, I think our rain chance is going to continually start to come down and we are going to be drier. Also going to warm things up in the process too. By Thursday, we're looking at a mainly dry day of weather across the Piedmont and a warmer day too. We'll start out in the low 60s. I'd expect that we're going to make it up into the mid and even upper 80s by the time we get to Friday. All right, for today, severe weather risk is there, but it is low. So it's still something that we'll keep an eye on. You'll see all of our area is blanketly covered in just a level 1 risk for a few severe storms today. Western North Carolina is not in that risk for today. Part of the foothills are, but it is all of our Triad communities and Triad counties included in that. And that, of course, goes down to the east into eastern North Carolina. Those folks have already seen busy weather yet again this morning. Here's how it stacks up heading into the afternoon. Again, dry through about noon and 1 o'clock, maybe up to 2 o'clock. After that, likely start to see a few showers popping up. And by the evening commute, we're talking 3, 4, 5 o'clock here, we've likely got some downpours across the Piedmont and a couple of storms to dodge. So again, if you have that radar app or that News 2 weather app, you can track it. You can find out where they are and maybe wait inside the office a little while before you head home, or maybe just give yourself some extra travel time to watch for that. By 7, 8, 9 o'clock, things are winding down, and anything that's out there, especially if it was big and bad earlier, should be starting to come to an end. I would expect that we're mostly dry heading into the late night hours as you head to bed, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. I think you can go to sleep with ease and not have anything to worry about. In fact, I think we're mainly dry all the way through the overnight hours and into very early tomorrow morning. All right, after that, we'll move into your Thursday and talk about Thursday. Drier weather, of course, will be coming up for your Thursday and more scattered showers to contend with for your Wednesday into Thursday, too. We do have some more rain on the way, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. So I think rainfall totals are likely going to be a bit suppressed here. All right, already picked up a general 1 to 2 inches of rain across the area. I think there could be another 1/4 of an inch to maybe 1/2 of an inch around the Piedmont. That'll be something that we watch for too. We'll step out of the way so you can see this rainfall graphic and just look. There could be some areas, especially with our air and our weather being more scattered. Some of these rainfall totals will not be nice and even like you see on this graphic, but I think a lot of our area could be somewhere between 1/4 of an inch to maybe 1/2 of an inch of rain more by the time we're said and done with tomorrow. Maybe up to an inch in some of the places that get some of those downpours or the heaviest thunderstorms. It would be much lighter than that in other places too. There will be some places that stay likely totally dry between the rest of today and tomorrow. So again, this will be the luck of the draw on who gets more rain and who doesn't. In the meantime, there's your plan for today. Temperatures still sit in the upper 60s, climbing up to around 70 as we go toward noon and 1 o'clock. Again, I expect we have a lot of dry time today in between some of those scattered downpours. So this is a change in the forecast from what we were thinking over the weekend. We were originally thinking today might be a total wash. I don't think that anymore, and I'm not forecasting that anymore. So you're going to have some time to get out and about. But things are soggy and things are still sopping wet from yesterday. So there'll be some on and off rain, some dry spells too. Temperatures in the mid 70s as we go into the afternoon, and some sunshine peeking out too. All right, let's talk about tonight. After about 7 and 8 o'clock, like I mentioned, any showers, any storm activity that's out there should start to come to an end. We're mainly dry overnight and partly cloudy. Temperatures will be comfortable as we cool back off into the low 60s, headed towards sunrise tomorrow morning. You're waking up comfortable right around 61 or 62 degrees for your Wednesday morning. Again, not a washout day tomorrow. There is some scattered showers around, but we have a lot of dry time tomorrow too. And we're going to start to warm things up a bit more. It's been a gradual warm up each day. Around 75, 76 today. I think we make it up to 77 tomorrow, especially with a lot more sunshine. After that, boy, we are going to really start to warm things up as we go into next week. Look at this, or the later part of the week, I should say. Our Thursday, mainly dry. We're going to get back up into the mid-80s for Thursday. Friday does bring a slightly better chance, but just for an isolated pop-up shower or storm. You know, the later into the spring we get, more into the summer we get, we're headed into that summertime pop-up storm season. So 3 and 4 o'clock starts to become storm o'clock. You know what happens. Anyway, it will be warm. 84 for Thursday afternoon and mainly dry. Just 1 or 2 pop-ups for Friday. 88 degrees for Friday afternoon. A lot of us could come close to scaring that 90-degree mark as we finish out the work week. And then 80s are going to start to lock in as we go through the weekend and on into next week. Saturday still by and large a good day of weather, just a pop-up shower or storm in the afternoons possible. Not much to worry about there. 86 to start the weekend. Of course, busy weekend up in Wilkesboro. We got the All-Star race back in town. Of course, there are events Friday into Saturday. Of course, Sunday is the big All-Star race. I don't think we have anything to worry about in the way of rain there for Sunday. Temperatures back in the mid-80s, partly cloudy if you're headed out to the race. Even though temperatures are in the mid-80s, you're sitting on the tar, sitting right next to the racetrack. It's likely going to feel a little more like 90 to you as you sit out there. Then as we go into next week, we are mainly dry. Your Monday is partly cloudy, temperatures in the low to mid-80s. And I would expect that we're going to stay right there, hovering in those low to mid-80s through much of next week. So the warm weather is going to come back. It's going to lock in for a while. And then that's going to be sticking with us for a while too. So there's plenty of warm air to enjoy. Now we've gone through this pretty quickly over the last 10 minutes or so. So I want to go back up and do just a little recap and show you where you are. If you're just joining us on WFMY Plus, it's an extended weather coverage this morning as we potentially still have some more rain and some thunderstorms on the way. So it is a News 2 weather impact alert day. We're going to continue that even though our forecast has changed and we're expecting a drier day of weather, just because I want you to be prepared for the evening. Some scattered downpours and also some stronger, maybe severe thunderstorms. That's a possibility today too. A lot of that depends on how much sunshine that we see as we move through the day. So have that rain gear close by, the WFMY News 2 weather app handy. It's free. If you don't have it yet, I would go download it. And as we speak, you're starting to see more light showing up in the sky over Winston-Salem. Likely some sunshine starting to peek through some of those clouds too. And we have a lot of that today. So a lot of dry time in between the periods of rain today is what you can expect. Out the door right now, we're at 69 degrees in Winston-Salem. Most of us, I think, hit 70 by the time we get to 11 o'clock and into the low 70s by noon and at 1 and 2 o'clock. Again, busier weather this morning. Most of the rain is down in eastern North Carolina. We're mainly dry heading through lunchtime and into the afternoon. A couple of showers or a quick passing storm up in the mountains and foothills, but we stayed dry through lunchtime and early afternoon. Not much action down to our south this morning either. After about 2 and 3 o'clock, some scattered downpours moving our way across the Piedmont. We'll likely start to see those develop, start to see those pop up. So check the radar, have that rain gear ready for that evening ride home and that evening commute. There's a good chance that you'll probably need it. Again, rain is scattered. Not everybody gets a shower or a storm. There will likely be several of those out there. 1 or 2 storms, again, could pop up, be strong or severe. Our main concern would be for a damaging wind gust, and we also have that low risk of a tornado. Think about it. The system is already starting to spin, and anytime we get a storm that pops up on its own, it has a better opportunity to start to rotate. So we'll be watching that, although the chance is low. Level 1 out of 5 risk today for severe weather across our area. So the chance is not high, but it's also not 0. Just something we'll watch for you. I don't think you have much of a reason to be very concerned. There's the plan for the rest of the day. Temperatures continue to warm up. We're into the mid-70s this afternoon with some peaks of sunshine in between the clouds. That sun, though, acts as fuel. So the more sun we get, likely more storms that we'll see popping up for your afternoon and evening. So that's something that we'll watch for. We love the sun, but we don't really like the storms today. Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on that for you here in the weather department as we go throughout the next couple of days. Get back over to your 7-day forecast so you can see that the rain chance does come down and the temperature does go up. We're around 90 for Friday afternoon. And then as we go into Saturday, mainly dry, just a pop-up shower or storm late in the day. 86, 84 for your Sunday. That all-star race up in Wilkesboro, again, should be smooth sailing for that. It will be toasty, though, if you're in the stands sitting next to the asphalt, next to the track. I can guarantee you that. Mainly dry weather hangs on as we go into next week. Temperatures will stay warm, too, in the low to mid-80s. That warmer weather seems to be locking in as we head toward the later part of May and into June. And, of course, humidity starts to become a factor, and we move into pop-up storm season as we head into June too. That's your update for now. Stay dry for the rest of the day. We'll have more updates heading into the afternoon, and of course keep you posted and keep you updated on our noon newscast and all our evening newscasts right here on WFMY News 2. Thanks for joining.